Hi, I'm Hope.
And I'm Larry.
From Under the Median. Today, let's talk about 5 reasons that the frugal fare well in a recession. Ever since 2008, you've heard rumblings periodically about an upcoming recession. Now, whether we're going to have a recession or not, we don't know. But we do know that a lot of experts believe that one could be coming. There is one thing that we do know, however, and that is that those of us who are frugal generally fare better in a recession. Why? We are going to give you 5 skills that frugal people possess that allow them to fare pretty well in an economic downturn. As we were talking about putting this video together, I was reminded of a book that I read several years ago.
Would that be the Cheapskate next door?
Why, yes, it would be. It was written by a man named Jeff Yeager. It's actually an incredibly good, very well written, very funny book. So he was accustomed to living well underneath of his means and sought out lots of other people around the United States who were doing exactly the same thing. Then he compiled all of the information into some hallmarks of people who live frugally. And one of the things he said in the book that always stuck with me was in times of economic downturn, really, people who live frugally don't panic too much because they're so accustomed to living beneath their means, they just go, that's interesting. And then they throw another cup of water in with their soup pot and they go on with life. So those of us who are frugal really do have some skill sets that make it easier for us to move forward in a time of economic recession. We have 5 principles we'll present to you today, and each one of them starts with the letter C, just because I love alliterations.
All right.
All right.
I see.
Number 1, frugal people know how to consciously consume media.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
By media, we're talking about radio, television, social media, advertisements, news stories, and commentaries.
So basically, anything that comes into your life and brings information, that is media. So those who are frugal are great at ignoring trends. We never, ever jump on the bandwagon of, ooh, that's new. Instead, we became frugal by actually doing the opposite. By not following trends, by not jumping on bandwagons, and by never getting what is new on the market. We always joke that by the time we get something, it's been around for several years and it's on its 3rd or 4th generation.
I've always told Hope that I'm usually about 20 years behind technology anyway.
We have 3 tips for you about consciously consuming media. The first tip is when you're reading anything on social media, please fact check it.
As long as you go back to as close as you can get to the original source of a story, you're going to get the actual facts. And that's what we want. We don't want the hype. We don't want the sensational. You want to know exactly what's going on so that you don't freak out.
It helps us not to panic.
Yeah.
The second thing you can do is unsubscribe. Use that unsubscribe button. That's what it's for. But don't unsubscribe from us, all right? So I'm going to give you sort of an idea of when you should unsubscribe. When you're not receiving any value in your life, when you're not getting valuable tips, strategies, and information, which we give you every week, then if somebody is just constantly asking you to buy their newest product or their newest thing they have on the market, then it's okay to unsubscribe from that feed. The third thing you can do is keep a list in front of you of no-cost activities that you can do that bring joy and fun into your life and don't cost you a penny.
Yeah.
The second thing that frugals know how to do, we know how to
count nickels and dimes. Now, does that mean we go through our pockets and our purses and we get all the change out, lay it on the table and count it? Is that what you're talking about?
Sometimes. Actually, what I'm talking about is the fact that a lot of people feel stuck. They feel stuck in their budget. They feel stuck with whatever anything costs. That's just what it costs. But frugal people are very accustomed to looking at that and saying, nope, I don't think so. And finding ways to cut that budget down to size. And not only that, we are very accustomed to counting each nickel and dime because we know that nickels and dimes add up to dollars.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Here are some things that you can do in order to make sure that you are counting the cost.
Well, one of the things you can ask yourself, and this is a real simple illustration, do you need one pencil or do you need 5 pencils? And when you go to the store and you're looking at pencils, do you get a better value if you buy the 5 instead of the 1? And then how many do you need over a certain period of time? Maybe you don't really need any pencils at all. I mean, these are the things that you have to look at for any item that you think that you might need.
Now, that's a very elementary, if you will, illustration. Nobody puts that much thought into whether they should buy a pencil or not buy a pencil. But the whole idea we want you to understand is that you need to get very accustomed to asking yourself, do I need this before you make a purchase? We have actually produced a video already on YouTube here that are 4 questions that you should ask yourself before making any purchase. It's only about 10 minutes long, and it's actually a very funny video.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And we had a great time putting it together. And it's 4 questions that we actually use all the time to ask ourselves before we make a purchase. And we will put a link to that video in the description of this video.
And may I just say, the first tip is being able to discern between your wants and your needs. And then also the reason why we were using the pencil as an illustration, it's the small purchases that we found out in our lives that add up to big dollars.
Here are 3 things that you can do to practice counting nickels and dimes. First of all, get a budget.
It's important to know where your money is going and exactly how much of it is going in the areas.
The second thing you can do is get accustomed to questioning every purchase and whether you actually need that item. Because a lot of times you'll figure out you really don't. And you can walk away from the table knowing, I don't really need that. And the third thing you can do is get an accountability partner. That's right. You need someone to say no in case your knower is a little bit broke at that moment. Sometimes you need someone to look you in the eye and say, nope, you don't need it.
And she's good at that. She's really good at that. Yeah, she is my accountability partner.
Here's the third thing that frugal people know how to do.
We know how to calculate the cost.
Now, that sounds like an awful lot like what we just said, right? Counting nickels and dimes. This actually is a little bit different because this is something that we do that sort of looks way down the line. When we calculate the cost, we mean the cost of whatever that is related to our future dreams and goals and desires. So we always recommend that everybody have a written list of short, medium, and long-term goals. And we are really, really good at looking at every purchase and calculating coldly how that item or purchase is going to affect our goals.
And part of calculating the cost is knowing when an item is said to be on sale, whether it really is. I used to work in a bicycle shop. It was an old business in Peoria. It's closed now. It was Brown's Sporting Goods. We sold brand new bicycles. On the bicycles was a sales tag. It had a sale price, and then it had a retail price. They were always on for the sale price. There really wasn't a retail price. That was jacked up.
No.
Yeah. So it really wasn't on sale, but the customer was led to believe, well, this is a deal. We better get it now.
You got to know whether it's really on sale and know whether it's a good value. So here are 3 things that you can do to practice calculating the cost. First of all, we want you to flex your frugal muscles. That's right. We want you to tell yourself no a time or two and practice telling yourself no. Once you do it a few times, it does get a lot easier. It
does.
becomes like, after you've practiced something a few times, that muscle memory kicks in and you go, no. I really don't need that. So practice telling yourself that a few times. Now, what we want you to understand is we understand there's like gratification, isn't there?
Oh, there's a high when you buy a brand new item. It's all nice and shiny in the package. You bring it home. But, do you really have to have that? It's just amazing how many things we can do without, and especially in times of need.
Dave Ramsey calls it that new car smell. How many thousands of dollars are you paying for that new car smell? So that's kind of what we're saying. There is there is great gratification in learning to live within your means, because people think budgeting is boring. Budgeting is not boring. When you make headway on those goals and all of a sudden you start reaching some goals and you start seeing yourself make headway, it is huge. And that does feed that desire to continue to live that way. So practice telling yourself no.
It's really a discipline. It's like an athlete who goes into training. The training doesn't seem like fun at the time, but it adds up to a victory in the end.
The second thing you can do to flex those muscles is to get acquainted with your local thrift stores. We love thrift stores. In fact, didn't we do a video on that, Larry?
I believe we did.
Yes, I think it was called 10 Tips to Thrift Store Shopping, and we will link it down below. And you will be able to see all of our 10 tips that we recommend for thrift store shopping. And the third thing you can do to calculate the cost is to practice shopping for groceries by grocery store sales and planning your weekly menu around those sales. It amazes me the number of people that just look through cookbooks and decide what they're going to cook for that week and go out and buy the supplies for that meal. There's no way we have done that, like, ever. So get accustomed to looking through those grocery store flyers. You can always find them online and buy things that are on sale and then plan that weekly menu around whatever is on sale.
Just an addendum to that, when you're at the grocery store, usually there's a section of clearance items, and it's really good to go through and look and see what is on clearance. We have discovered some awesome clearance items on sale, and we will usually stock up when we see it go on clearance, especially if it's more than half off the original price.
Markdowns are amazing. Yeah. The fourth thing that frugal people really know how to do is we know how to
concentrate on goals.
That's right. We hyper-focus on goals. When there's something in front of us, we are like a racehorse headed toward that finish line. We know exactly where we want to go, and there is nothing that is going to stand in our way. We live on a written budget, and we unapologetically refuse to jump onto the newest bandwagon of gotta have it. Here are 3 tips that you can use to learn to concentrate on your goals. Plan your BBB.
What do you mean? We get the Better Business Bureau involved in our budgeting? That's a lot of B's.
No, the BBB is the Barebones Budget.
Oh.
What's a time in our life when we actually got out a Barebones Budget, Larry?
Well, I got laid off at the multimedia company I was working for, and we had to do some reshuffling.
Yes, we did. So immediately I got the budget out and slashed away at everything that we absolutely did not need. So your Barebones Budget contains 4 things. It's your 4 walls, if you will. It contains your food, clothing, shelter, and transportation, and that is it.
That is pretty basic.
Those are the 4 basic things you absolutely need to keep in your life.
Yeah.
So here's the second tip. If you're in debt, try sticking to your BBB for just a little while. Try that Barebones Budget out for size and see how it feels, because you will find you can save a whole lot of money if you do, and throw it toward that goal of paying off that debt. Mm-hmm. Here's the third thing that you can do in order to concentrate on your goals. Keep a written list of short, medium, and long-term goals and keep it
in front of your face.
That's right. I say it all the time. You put it wherever you're going to look at it. If you need to attach it to the bathroom mirror on the side of the mirror, do it. If you need to attach it somewhere in your car, not maybe on the windshield, but somewhere somewhere it's not going to obscure your vision while you're driving. If you need to put it on your refrigerator, wherever you are going to make eye contact more than once a day, that's where you want to have that list of goals printed out and tucked somewhere where you are going to see it.
Yeah, if you keep your goals in front of you, it's like a carrot in front of the rabbit, then that's what you'll be aiming at. And we can't aim at something unless we're focused on it. So
that's right.
Yeah.
The fifth and final thing the frugal know how to do is to
continue creating wealth.
So what do we mean like that?
Well, in the time of a recession, you don't want to panic, especially if you have investments. This is not the time to panic. We've got some panicking going on right now in the stock market. They're going way up and way down, and it's reacting to a temporary crisis, health crisis, and that will level itself out in time. Don't get on that bandwagon. That is also what investment experts will tell you. Don't jump off of your investments at a time where they're kind of rocky. Just ride out the storm.
So keep in touch with your investment professional and don't panic.
Right.
The second thing you can do to continue creating wealth is to update your resume. I know that this actually does sound kind of scary. And I'm not telling you you're going to lose your job during a recession. I'm just telling you that during a recession, a whole lot more layoffs do happen.
It's good to be prepared just in case something like that would happen.
So go ahead and update that resume. Start networking with colleagues, with people that you know in the community. Mm-hmm. Hone skills associated with the job you're doing. If they make you an offer that they're going to pay for some classes or certification, and that offer is on the table, then do it. Take advantage of all the opportunities that your current job is offering you, because those skills and those certifications may come in handy should you find yourself unemployed. Now, the other thing that you can do in order to bring extra money in and sort of prepare yourself for maybe a second job or a different career should you get laid off is to look at your hobbies.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Everybody has a skill set. One of the things that I started doing, I enjoyed working in video. I used to do some transferring. I transferred my family's old 8mm films. That gave me some skills. I worked up the skills on those and developed a side business of transferring films and videotapes from other people's family collections, and made a bit of money on the side. And it was nice to have that to fall back on if we needed it. So you probably have some hobbies that you do right now that you can probably turn into cash.
And the third thing you can do is know who you can rely on for help. Anytime there's a recession, there's an absolute resurgence of people depending on other people. So you get with other people who have skill sets that you don't have and say, hey, I need to have my plumbing repaired, and I know you know how to do that, and you need to have some electrical work done, and I know how to do that. So all of a sudden, you are networking with people, friends, relatives, co-workers, people from church, anybody that you know who has a skill set. And all of a sudden, that becomes in really handy to know how to do some things that you can swap out different skill sets in order to get some things done.
Mm-hmm. That's a good barter system.
That's right. And the most important thing you can know who you rely on for help is to rely on the Lord.
Yeah, he promises to meet our needs. As long as we're focused on him, he will meet our needs.
And those are the 5 things, the 5 reasons that the frugal fare well in a recession. Let's go through them really quickly. The frugal know how to 1, consciously consume media. 2, to count nickels and dimes. 3, to calculate the cost. 4, to concentrate on goals. And 5, to continue creating wealth. Please like this video, subscribe to Under the Median. We put out new videos once a week, and we would love to make connections and hear comments from you. We truly hope that these 5 tips have been helpful to you. But the one thing that we do know is that those who are I was thinking about a book that I read several years ago. It
That
was
wouldn't
called,
be the Cheapskate Next Door.
it
would
would be the Cheapskate Next Door. It was by a done?
Oh, no. Not quite.
I need you to be done
Okay.
before I start.
We're done.
Can you just let me know?
Oh, no. Okay.
I just really need to know when you're done.
How much do they pay for their skates? I kept thinking about that last time. Cheap skate. Who buys skates? Okay, beep, ready to go.
As we were talking about, you will see that we've also published a video on YouTube here that tells you 4 questions that you need to ask yourself before making any purchase. And we will link to that video down below in the Did you put that on there?
You want me to?
No, you make me scared.
I didn't put it on there. I had it paused.
Okay, go ahead. You can put it on. Go ahead. Tell your joke. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let's give the point first.
No, give your joke first, because
Okay.
then we're going to go back to really...
Okay. Do you know why the girl was staring at the orange juice jug?
No, why?
It said concentrate.
Okay. We done now?
We're done. Yeah,
All right.
we can go back. Okay.
The fourth thing...